correct who donated bone marrow after the surgery is done. That's not a typo. So who decided to change it and why?
To my daughter Claire, the one who saved Liam's life. Everyone claps. I'm still holding the surgical scar under my sleeve. We're at my mom's dining table, family dinner, candles lit, my son beside me, still recovering from the transplant that nearly killed me. No one says my name. Claire smiles like it's true. Like she was the one in that hospital bed. Like she was the one they warned might not wake up. I donated my bone marrow. I almost died for my son. And my own family erased me. I push my chair back, my heart pounding. That's not. My mom's phone starts ringing. She answers, puts it on speaker. A calm voice cuts through the room. Hi, this is St. Mary's Hospital. We need to correct the donor records immediately. Claire's smile disappears, and every head slowly turns. The silence that follows is sharp, like something just cracked open in the middle of the table. My mom doesn't speak right away. She just stares at her phone like it betrayed her, like it wasn't supposed to do that. Put it on speaker, my uncle says, leaning forward, confusion already creeping into his voice. She hesitates, just for a second, but it's enough, because I see it, that flicker of panic she's trying to hide. Then she clears her throat and presses the button again. Yes, hi, she says, forcing her voice steady. You're on speaker. What is this about? Across from me, Claire shifts in her seat. Her fingers tighten around her wine glass, knuckles whitening. She doesn't look at me anymore. She's staring at the table. The voice on the phone continues. Calm, clinical, completely unaware of what it's about to unravel. Ma'am, we've identified an inconsistency in the donor documentation related to Liam Carter's bone marrow transplant. A few people at the table exchange looks. Inconsistency? My aunt repeats quietly. My heart is pounding so hard I can feel it in my throat. Because I already know what this is about. I've known something was wrong for weeks. I just didn't expect it to explode like this. My mom lets out a small, nervous laugh. I think there must be some mistake. My daughter, Claire, she's the donor. Claire finally looks up. And for the first time tonight, she doesn't look confident. She looks like she's waiting to see if the lie holds. The voice on the phone doesn't match my mom's tone at all. There's no hesitation, no uncertainty. According to our surgical and genetic records, the donor listed is Emily Carter. The room goes still, completely still. I don't move. I don't speak, because this right here is the moment everything starts to crack. My uncle frowns. Emily, that's me, I say, my voice cutting through before anyone else can finish. Every head turns, not gradually, all at once, like they're seeing me for the first time tonight. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. My mom's grip tightens around the phone. There's been some confusion, she says quickly. Too quickly. We clarified this already. No, ma'am, the voice replies. That's why we're calling. The records were recently cross-checked due to submitted documentation that contradicts the original medical file. Submitted documentation. The words hang there. Heavy, intentional. Not a mistake. Not confusion. Something that was filed, reported, claimed. Claire's chair scrapes softly against the floor as she shifts again, but she still doesn't speak. Not one word. I look at her, really look at her, and I realize something that makes my stomach drop. She's not surprised. She's scared. My son's hand tightens around mine. Mom? He whispers. I squeeze back gently, not taking my eyes off Claire, because now I know this didn't start tonight. And whatever they've been hiding, it's about to come out in front of everyone. The voice on the phone continues. Ma'am, we need to confirm who authorized the donor information submitted to insurance and affiliated support programs. My mom doesn't answer. No one does. And for the first time all evening, the spotlight isn't on Claire anymore. It's on the truth. And it's not done yet. The lie didn't start at this table, it was already alive long before tonight. No one speaks after the call ends. My mom lowers the phone slowly, like if she moves carefully enough, she can contain what just happened. But it's already out. It's in the room now, sitting between us like something no one wants to touch. Claire finally exhales, setting her glass down too carefully. "This is ridiculous," she says, forcing a small laugh. Obviously, something got mixed up. Mixed up? I almost say something, but I stop myself. Because I've heard that tone before. Back at the hospital, when Liam was first admitted, everything moved fast. Tests, consultations, hushed conversations in corners. We were all there, me, Claire, my mom, waiting for answers. When the results came in, the doctor didn't make it dramatic. "You were the only viable match," he told me. Not Claire. Me? I remember the silence that followed. My mom looked relieved, then immediately turned to Claire, putting a hand on her shoulder like she needed comforting. Claire hugged me. Tight. "You're amazing," she said. But her voice didn't shake. It didn't sound relieved. It sounded prepared. At the time, I ignored it. I had bigger things to think about. Consent forms, risks, the fact that the procedure could go wrong in ways they couldn't fully control. I signed anyway. There was never a question. But after the surgery, things started to shift. I was barely conscious most of the time. Pain came in waves. My body didn't feel like mine. Some days I couldn't even sit up without help. And yet, visits felt controlled, staggered, like people were being managed. Every time I woke up and Claire was there, conversations would stop mid-sentence. My mom would suddenly change the subject. Nurses would glance at each other before speaking. At first, I thought I was imagining it, until one night I woke up to voices outside my room. Low, careful, a nurse whispered. "Wait, I thought the sister was the donor?" Another voice replied. "That's what the family told us." I remember staring at the ceiling, completely still, because in that moment, something didn't add up, and no one was explaining why. Back at the dinner table, the silence stretches too long. My uncle finally clears his throat. "So, what exactly is going on here?" No one answers. Not my mom. Not Claire. I feel Liam shift closer to me, his small voice barely audible. "Mom, why did they say Aunt Claire saved me?" I swallow, because I've been asking myself the same question for weeks. And now, I'm done staying quiet. I look straight at my mom. "Why don't you tell them?" Her eyes snap to mine. Sharp. Warning. But this time, I don't look away. And neither does she. For a second, it feels like she might actually say it. Tell the truth. Instead, she forces a tight smile and says, "This isn't the time for this conversation." And that's when I realize she's not planning to fix this. She's planning to bury it again. The lie doesn't just sit there, it starts collapsing under its own weight. My aunt leans forward, eyes locked on my mom. "No, this is the time. You don't get a call like that and just move on." A few heads nod. The room has shifted. The warm, celebratory energy is gone, replaced by something sharper. Suspicion. Claire finally speaks. "It's probably just paperwork," she says quickly. "Hospitals mess things up all the time." But her voice is thinner now, less certain. I let out a quiet breath. Then why did they say submitted documentation doesn't match? That lands hard. My mom shoots me a look, sharp, controlled. "Emily, stop." "No," I say, steady. "You already let this go too far." Silence again. Then my uncle asks the question no one else wants to say out loud. "What documentation?" My mom hesitates, just long enough to confirm everything, and suddenly it clicks for everyone, not just me. This wasn't just something said in conversation. It was written down, filed somewhere, used. I turn to her. "You told people Claire was the donor," I say. "Not just family, Everyone. She doesn't deny it. Instead, she exhales slowly and says, "It helped."
She just admitted it helped. Helped what exactly? Liam or the attention and money they were getting from the story about Claire?
Helped. The word echoes in the room like something hollow. How? My aunt presses. My mom's jaw tightens. People paid attention. They donated. They shared Liam's story. There it is. Claire shifts again, eyes flicking between everyone. "We didn't force anyone," she adds quickly. "People just wanted to help." "But they were helping based on a lie," I say. No one interrupts this time, because now they're seeing it too. The posts, the praise, the money, all built on Claire being the one who sacrificed. Not me. I feel Liam's hand tighten again. "Mom, is that true?" I look down at him, then back up at my mom. "Say it," I tell her quietly. But she doesn't. She just shakes her head slightly, like I'm the one causing damage. Like I'm the problem. And that's when it stops being about misunderstanding. This is intentional, calculated, sustained. My uncle leans back, stunned. "You let people believe Claire went through the surgery?" My mom doesn't answer. Claire finally snaps, "It wasn't hurting anyone." We stare at her. "Not hurting anyone?" I repeat. My voice doesn't rise, but it cuts deeper that way. "Then why didn't you ever correct it?" Claire opens her mouth and stops, because she doesn't have an answer that works anymore. The room feels smaller now, tighter, and then my mom's phone buzzes again. Same number. She looks at it, doesn't move, doesn't answer. Everyone sees it. Everyone knows what it means. They're calling back, because whatever this is, it isn't over. The phone keeps buzzing. No one tells her to answer this time. They're all just watching, waiting. My mom stares at the screen like it might stop if she ignores it. It doesn't. The sound cuts through the silence again and again, sharp, insistent. Finally, my uncle says, "Pick it up." Not a suggestion. She exhales, then answers. No speaker this time. "Hello?" We can still hear the voice faintly from where we sit. "Yes, we spoke a minute ago," she says, trying to steady herself. A pause. Then, "What do you mean flagged?" That word lands differently. Flagged. Claire goes still beside her. I lean forward slightly, every muscle in my body tense. My mom turns away from the table, lowering her voice, but not enough. "No, that's not..." She starts, then stops. Listens. Her face changes. Color drains. Eyes widen just enough to notice. "What kind of implications?" she asks. No one moves now. No one even pretends to, because we all know this isn't about a simple correction anymore. This is something bigger. She presses her fingers into her forehead. "We didn't think..." Another pause. Longer this time. Then the voice on the other end gets louder, clear enough for all of us to hear pieces. "Insurance filings. Financial assistance applications. Misrepresentation of donor identity." Each phrase hits like a weight dropping onto the table. My uncle mutters under his breath, "You've got to be kidding me." I look at Claire. She's not defensive anymore. She's frozen, like she's realizing, in real time, how far this actually went. My mom turns slightly, her back still half to us. "It was just to help raise support," she says into the phone, "for my grandson." The response is immediate. Fear. Intent does not change the reporting requirements. My chest tightens, because now it's clear. This didn't just stay inside the family. This moved into systems that don't ignore things. Systems that track, that verify, that follow up. My mom's voice drops to almost a whisper. What happens now? That's the question. The one no one at this table wants answered. The voice on the phone responds, calm, direct. "We need full clarification on who authorized the submissions and who was listed as the donor across all documents." My mom closes her eyes. Just for a second. And in that second, everything connects. The posts, the donations, the paperwork, This wasn't accidental. Someone chose this, maintained it, signed off on it. She slowly turns back toward the table, toward all of us. Her eyes land on me, then shift to Claire. And she says, barely above a whisper, they're asking who filed it. The room goes completely still, because now it's not about what happened. It's about who's responsible. For a second, no one breathes. Claire's eyes flick to my mom, just a quick, silent exchange, the kind that says more than words ever could. But this time, it doesn't stay silent. I didn't do anything alone, Claire says. Her voice isn't strong anymore. It's thin, careful. My mom turns sharply. Claire? No, Claire cuts in, shaking her head. You told me it would help. You said people wouldn't respond the same way to Emily. There it is, out in the open. No spin, no softening, just truth. My aunt presses a hand to her mouth. My uncle leans back like the air's been knocked out of him. I don't move. I just listen. You set up the posts, Claire continues, looking directly at my mom now. You wrote most of them. You told me what to say when people asked questions. My mom's composure cracks. I was trying to help, Liam! By lying, I say. She looks at me, then really looks at me for the first time all night. And there's no defense left in her expression. Only realization. The phone is still in her hand, still connected, still listening. The voice on the other end cuts back in. Ma'am, we'll need both of you to provide statements. This includes any fundraising, insurance submissions, and public claims tied to the donor identity. There's no arguing with that. No talking around it. This has moved beyond the family. And it doesn't stop there. Within days, everything unravels. The fundraising platforms freeze the accounts tied to the campaign. Thousands of dollars locked pending investigation. Insurance companies open formal reviews. Every document tied to the transplant is re-examined because the truth is simple and now fully documented. I was the donor. Not Claire, but Claire was listed on multiple submissions and my mom authorized them. It's not just a misunderstanding. It's misrepresentation tied to money, which makes it something else entirely. Legal notices follow. Emails, calls, requests for records. Claire stops posting completely. Her accounts go silent overnight. Messages pile up, questions she doesn't answer. My mom tries to manage it at first, calls relatives, attempts explanations, but the story has already shifted out of her control. People compare posts. Screenshots circulate. The timeline doesn't hold up anymore. The praise Claire built disappears just as fast as it came, and the fallout doesn't stay online. Family members start choosing distance. Some call me quiet, awkward apologies. Others don't call at all. Because they were part of it too, in a way. They believed it, repeated it, defended it, and now they don't know where they stand. As for me, I don't chase any of it. I don't argue. I don't try to rebuild anything that was built on a lie. I focus on Liam, because he's the only part of this that was ever real. A few weeks later, we're sitting together at home. The house is quiet. Normal again, in a way that feels new. He's stronger now, laughing more, eating more, living. He looks up at me from the couch. Mom, he says, why did they say Aunt Claire saved me? I sit beside him, brushing a hand gently through his hair. They shouldn't have, I tell him. He studies my face for a second, then asks, but you did, right? No cameras, no audience, no one to interrupt, just the truth. Yes, I say. He nods, like that's all he needed. Then leans into me, completely at ease. And in that moment, there's no applause, no speeches, no lies, just the reality no one can take away or rewrite again. I gave my son my bone marrow, and in the end, the truth took everything else from them.
If something that big can be written with paperwork and a few posts, how many other truth people celebrate are just decided for them without ever being questioned?